But Sedin's, as much as success they had in Vancouver, we did not get the ultimate prize.
This topic about loyalty, the same Raptor fans that were pissed off about DeRozan getting traded are the same Raptor fans celebrating a title.
Welcome back to the BTR podcast.
Before we get started, we would like to thank everyone who subscribed and helped us get to 100 subscribers on YouTube. We have a goal of getting 1,000 by the end of the year, so let's make that happen.
Follow our socials linked down below. We would love to also reach 100 followers on our TikTok and our Instagram and eventually our Twitter as well. So link down below as well as to our audio platforms. Without a further ado, we are officially in off-season mode because the champions have been crowned.
AKA boring season now.
Yeah, fun season in a way to start with all these rumors and draft coming up. It will be boring probably like mid-July.
Things die down pretty quickly though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like early to mid-July, depending on what the rumors are.
Obviously, it's not playoff time or like we're gonna see any games.
We're going to be getting to rumors today because the rumors already began for the NBA. So,
yeah.
But that being said, you want to start with the NBA, NHL?
Let's go with the NBA first.
Okay, so that happened Monday, and Denver Nuggets have officially got their first championship in 47 years in existence, their first ever, by beating the Heat in 5 games back home in Denver. It was a weird game. It wasn't
low scoring.
Low scoring. Defense played a factor. A shot inefficiency played a factor. The fatigue probably caught up to people.
The fatigue.
The Heat had this game almost. They should have had this game.
The fatigue already caught up to the Heat when they blew that 3-0.
True, but this should have been a game 6 in my opinion. But let's get into the game first, and we'll get into like the praises and what the team should be doing. Let's start off with Denver. I think simple. Jokic. I was combine the names there. I combine the names. Nikola Jokic, the Joker, had pretty much took over. Like he was like missed like 4 shots the entire game.
Yeah, he went 12.
You saw him on the bench, and he's just like ripping it into his team, showing that leadership now. And obviously eventually took over. The other guy that stepped up was Michael Porter Jr., who was quiet throughout the series. He was actually hustling a lot. Well, even though as a team they shot poorly from 3, so it's not like his 3-point shot was falling consistently, but you could just see the hustle plays going on. And on the other side, yeah, Jamal Murray struggled a bit, but obviously it wasn't much needed when you have probably the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, it's 12 of 16 shooting, like I said, 28 points, 16 rebounds. Michael Porter Jr., obviously, he didn't shoot really well, but he made an impact for sure.
Yeah.
And otherwise, the Denver was just dominant throughout the whole championship run.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably one of the most dominant ones I've seen in a while.
Their defense especially showed out, as well as, like, Aaron Gordon stepped up. Aaron Gordon was in that Andrew Wiggins role, you could say, because, like, when he was in Orlando, he was a top pick. Not the first overall pick, but, like, a top pick. You know, made his name in the slam dunk contest, was projected to be, like a guy. I'm not saying he had the skill set of Andrew Wiggins, obviously. Obviously, didn't work out there. Found his role kind of like Andrew Wiggins with the Warriors. He found his role here and played it very well, right? Getting rebounds, getting paint points, hitting the occasional 3-point shot, playing defense. And, that trade was Gary Harris and I think RJ Hampton in a first. Looks like a steal to me.
Yeah, he stepped up in the finals when they needed him most.
Yeah.
It's like him stepping up. It didn't feel like Michael Porter Jr. Impact was nothing, right?
Yeah, because we all know Michael Porter Jr. is the 3rd best player on that team.
Yeah, and so then him struggling, it just got overlooked because they were still so dominant.
Yeah, the other thing was, like, it's funny because I mentioned it to you while we were watching the 4th quarter when PJ took that bad shot selection. So it's good to have guys like Bruce Brown on your bench, because it's like the minute he had the bad shot selection or the minute he missed his coverage on like a pick and roll type thing on the screen, you could just see Michael Malone like pointing to the bench, like, get your ass in that game and get him out, which was what kind of happened in game 2, I believe, where the game they lost, right?
It makes sense. You're at the biggest stage right now. You want to, and especially at the
take care of the ball.
Closing moments, you got to take care of the ball.
Yeah, see, I'm not the only one that's stuttering.
Yeah, we were both pretty shit at stuttering, but Yeah, taking care of the ball, killing the clock, especially when you're in the lead, and then obviously taking bad shots doesn't help with that.
Yeah, so I mean, but yeah, like throughout this game, he was fine. There's nothing much to say. Like the series is over. We shouldn't be recapping the game too much, but let's just flip over to Miami quickly, unless you want to finish off something with Denver.
Not really. You're just Joker and Joker.
Yeah. So Miami, overall, was Bam the best player in the series for Miami?
Yeah, it was Bam. Jimmy was poor again.
Yeah, like okay, well again, like game 3 and 4, he wasn't poor by basketball standards, but for the impact of the game, I don't know how much that injury affected him. Obviously, in the finals, every excuse kind of goes out the window because you're playing, right? And it's such a lose-lose situation with injuries that like if you're not playing, it's like okay, well, the other guy's like playing, or like Tyler Hero for example. But then it's like, oh well, if you are playing, you're hurting the team, so it's like a lose-lose situation. But anyways, back to the Jimmy Butler thing. Yeah, he was like that Game 6 version of the Boston series.
Yeah, he did kill it in the
The
fourth
last
quarter
five
again.
minutes,
Yeah, the
though,
last five
again,
minutes.
same as that Boston series, right?
Yeah.
All they had the chances to win this game, and all he had to do was play one quarter. Even they probably would have won this game.
Yeah. Honestly, they should have won this game because you're not getting a night where Denver's shooting 17% from three again. And
Yeah,
then yeah. Also then Denver also shot 45%, which is decent, but it doesn't also help when your team is shooting 25% from three.
yeah. So like Gabe Vincent just kind of went downhill after the first 2 games. Caleb Martin didn't reach heights like he did in the conference finals. Bam was the guy I wanted to see aggressive. He was offensively and defensively, but like Kyle Lowry hit like 4 big threes, but he at the end of the day he finished with a 4 for 13, 4 for 14. Um, yeah, and then the other thing was Tyler Hero was supposed to play. Like we said last episode, oh yeah, he's done. He ain't playing, right? Then literally the day we released the episode, it's like
Yeah.
Tyler Hero upgraded to questionable. He'll be playing. I guess I don't know how much of that was like mind tricks that like to get Denver to like, oh my god, we had to prepare for Tyler Hero. Obviously, may have worked, may have not worked because they did. Denver was probably the worst game of the playoffs for them, probably. Well, I can't comment too
You can't.
much of the
No, no.
earlier rounds.
The thing is, you can't say like that Tyler Hero thing would affect them because that's on the defensive side, right? They were just offensively poor.
Yeah, no, for sure. And obviously, like it's a broken hand at the end of the day. I don't know if it was a shooting hand or not,
I think it wasn't,
but either like it's
but
tough to
still, you
put him
need two
in. I
hands.
still thought, I guess because it was a close game, they didn't need to put him in to put in a high. Then you're gonna literally put him in like in the fourth quarter. Then there's no point, right? Because they were leading.
Yeah, you had
Um,
to get him in early, like in the end of the first, just to give him a little run, and I think they should have if he was healthy. But I don't know if it was a mind trick or like just to toy away Denver. But if he was healthy, I would have put him in like at the end of the
yeah,
first
I
quarter.
doubt he was healthy. I think there was
Yeah,
just a
there's no
little bit of
way.
mind games and then a little bit of if we really need to
Like if
put.
we're just really struggling,
Yeah,
you're like our last option basically.
yeah, exactly. But that was the game. It was actually it wasn't a bad game. Like it was a close game
It was a close
still.
game still,
It was like
yeah.
an ugly game to watch, but it was a close game. That being said, let's congratulate the Denver Nuggets, and now we'll give them their flowers. Let's talk about Denver here quickly. Well, not quickly. They deserve this praise, right? Because Michael Malone says that we get disrespected. So first off, dominating playoff run, 16-4, right? They lost one game in the first round. The fourth round obviously swept the Lakers and
They averaged a
lost to
4-1 basically every.
essentially, yeah. And my question to you is for so Jokic obviously, and we were talking this
First of
off
all,
the pod.
Jokic, you won an NBA title, and and
Yo,
your
yo,
like your interviews are so weird, bro.
no, he so
They're
first off,
hilarious, but they're like
okay,
yeah.
before we get into like my question, Jokic, right? He gets the MVP award, right? He leaves it on the stage, and obviously Michael Malone had it in his
Yeah,
hand.
Michael Malone had it in his hand.
Then
Yeah.
I saw a thing today where he lost it.
He lost it,
He said he left it in the equipment room or something, and he went back, and it's not there anymore. So
bro. Like
he does not. I don't know. Like it's so funny because even in this press conference, I don't know how much of it him is just trying too hard to be like that, or if he's genuinely like that. He's like,
or he's just tired as hell.
because he's like, when is the parade? And they're like Thursday,
Yeah.
and then he's like,
Oh, I need to
oh,
go home.
I need to go home. My horses and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Then
I don't know how much of it is an act or how much of it isn't just like He's
just
genuinely like
tired, or he
this,
just wants to go home
or he's
badly.
genuinely like this. Like
Yeah.
people, you're usually excited for the parade at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then another thing was like on the post game interview, like on court, he's just like, "Oh, job is done. We can go home now."
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, you're already home.
which is in a way true, but
Yeah,
yeah. No. I guess my question first off, we saw a dominating performance, right? He definitely reclaimed the best center in the game.
he reclaimed that. He reclaimed that
Like I'm
two
just saying,
series ago.
after the MVP loss to Embiid, obviously some people like Embiid deserved it at the end of the day, as well. I'm not saying like,
Could have ruined the perfect NBA season though.
but yeah. My question to you is this? I know you have some bias, but is this one of the most or the most dominant performance you've seen in your lifetime? I guess.
In my lifetime, yeah, because like there's probably other ones where
I'm
like
sure Jordan's up there. but
Jordan or like Shaq and like all those
Kobe.
Kobe. But in my lifetime,
Are you still
I
writing
think
with
it's
this?
Jokic.
You're
Obviously,
not.
Kawhi's up there for sure. But it is Jokic, man.
Kawhi did have some like mad games. I think Jokic didn't even have a mad game in this
Yeah,
playoffs.
because Jokic, all right, you led in points, you led in rebounds, you led in assists. You can't do any more. You genuinely can't do any more, right?
Yeah.
So like for that, that's like an S tier playoff run for sure.
Yeah.
By an individual player, um, and also leading your team from like what 1 seed to a 16-4 run, and then also
See, okay,
Finals MVP.
you mentioned the 16. I mean, I mentioned it, and you just mentioned it right now. It's the 16-4 run. People are saying, "Oh, it was the Timberwolves, then it was a 7th seed Lakers, and then it was the 4th or 5th seed Suns." Bro, listen, that's what shows that people don't watch basketball, because the Lakers with that roster were no longer a 7th seed, right? They had to climb their way to the 7th seed because they were the best team in basketball essentially after the trade deadline, right? And then you have the Suns. I get it, they were injured, they were whatever. You still have the two of the best players in the game. They handled business. And the other thing is, what seed did the Nuggets finish?
First,
So is that their fault that they were the best team in the regular season by far?
they were the best team in NBA. Like
Yeah.
they were by far the best team in the West.
Yeah.
Like it was clear.
So it was so stupid seeing that. It's like, oh yeah, it was the 1st seed. They played the 8th seed. They played the 7th seed.
They're gonna
They
play
played
the
the 4th seed.
They're the
Like,
first seed. Obviously, they don't play the
yeah,
8th seed and the
exactly.
4th
So
seed.
yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest. But
Yeah, no, Lakers definitely were not a 7 seed after the trade deadline. They were like a 2 seed, maybe even a 1 seed.
I wouldn't
Right.
say 1 seed. I wouldn't disrespect the Nuggets.
No, like
Oh, they were like the best team in basketball.
From
yeah.
the deadline.
From what I remember, they were like at least top 2 in
yeah,
basketball.
like from the deadline.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like overall.
And this was with LeBron and them.
And then
injured.
obviously a KD and Devin Booker team, you saw what they did. Like they dropped what? They both dropped 70 points a game combined, 70, 80 points a game.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was the toughest challenge for Denver because that was the only time Denver was tied in the series.
Yeah. So you mentioned that was probably the dominant performance you've seen. Is Jokic now officially on the same tier as Giannis on all-time rankings as of right now?
All-time rankings, they both have back-to-back MVPs.
They both have a
They
championship.
both
and
have a
finals.
championship. They both have a Finals MVP. Giannis has what? An extra depoy.
Yeah, and then I don't know
Right.
how many All-Star appearances each of them have. I think they're probably close in number. Jokic going to the league in 2014. I feel like he put his name on the map in like 18.
Yeah, I mean, they should be in the same tier
Yeah,
because Jokic's playoff run was better than Giannis's playoff run,
yeah.
right?
Well, Giannis had a dominant playoff run too.
But Jokic's was better.
Yeah.
It's like the best one you've seen in a while, for sure. And
Yeah,
then
I know Giannis had that closing game of 50 points for sure, but obviously a lot of, you know how we were having that 1A 1B debate last time. That's the same thing with the Giannis Middleton thing back then as well, right? By the way, if you haven't watched that, we dropped that video, so watch that heated debate.
And even if you don't understand what's going on, just watch two brothers yelling at each other.
Exactly. But no, anyways, yeah, no, I agree that they are in the same tier for sure. Like you can't, at the end of the day, like, yes, people remember, for example, Kevin Durant joining the Warriors, and then those 2 championships should not be credible for him. But 100 years down the line, no one's gonna remember that, right? Unless we're alive then to say something.
We're probably dead.
No, I'm just saying in general,
Yeah,
like
no.
50, 100 years down the line, and then. But at the end of the day, it's gonna say 2 championships as of right now, stuff like that, right? Because we don't know what happened with Bill Russell back then. We just knew he was a defensive center that had 11 rings. That's what's in our mind, right? So that being said, is the debate of Jokic again. Where does he rank amongst all centers? And I'll show you a stat. But until then,
All centers.
yeah,
I mean,
because some
there's
people are saying he's the greatest center. I think he's the most skilled center of all time.
yeah. I mean, there's you got
Either the
Cream, you got Wilt.
So I'll let you see this. The names on this, Shaq put this on Instagram. He's pretty much said, "Welcome to the club."
Yeah,
It was Kareem, Hakeem,
yeah.
Shaq, Wilt, Russell, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, and Jokic. I'll let you look at this quickly while I share my opinion, and you tell me who does he surpass in that list? Because I feel like he's not. He's definitely 6 at the minimum.
I would say
I don't think
six.
he's 5.
He's at a
He obviously still has a. He's still young. He's like 28, so he still has a career to
still
go.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Denver being young, like we said.
Like I feel like you could put him ahead of Ewing, right? If you look at
He's
his stats.
no, right now he's at a Ewing for sure.
How about David Robinson? I think that's like the tough one. If you look at his defensive
That's what
numbers.
become yeah. You could compare him. You could maybe almost like yeah. I would say sixth right now. He definitely.
So you have Kareem, Shaq, Wilt, Hakeem,
yeah. Then you got Bill Russell as well.
Bill Russell. Okay, so you probably have
Yeah.
him like 6, 7 range right now.
6.
You haven't heard of David Robinson for sure.
Actually, no. Wait, how many is that? That's 8 right there, right?
These are 8.
Yeah. So then he's 7.
Okay, so you're putting David Robinson ahead.
Yeah, I'm
as of
putting
right
David Robinson ahead, and then he needs to win another one.
now. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like he's an underrated defender, but like a lot of it is him being lazy and putting his foot out, which is smart. But you're also giving up a possession at the same time, right?
I mean,
Like,
are you giving up possession, but you're also taking away a bucket?
True, but you're also giving, depending on the time, you're giving him more time on the clock. If it's like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think he's smart enough to not do it like
he's done it. That's what I'm saying. He's done
in the
it.
fourth. I mean, I didn't really see in this playoff.
Well,
run.
not in this way. I'm just saying in general, like general instinction.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're trying to block the pass. and,
Yeah.
like, especially, is that really his fault or is that the guy getting beat on the cut as well, behind him in the back?
Yeah, no, true. The other person we want to obviously shout out, unless you have anything else to say about Joker. Nothing really. Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray.
Obviously, like his press conference was emotional. He was saying like, he went to the Denver Nuggets front office and be like, "Are you guys trading me? Am I damaged goods because of the injury?" Because, truth be told, if they had lost to the Lakers or the Suns, maybe not the finals, but if they had lost in the second or third round this year, I would have been like, okay, there might be time to trade Jamal Murray to get like a Damian Lillard. Obviously, don't need to have that conversation anymore. Because like again, like you wanted to pay, like we were obviously having that 1A-B argument last time. Obviously, he disapproved that. Like, there's a reason why we had that argument, right?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say argue like a debate.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I would think that for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that. But he's shown this playoff run. This is the second playoff run where he's been like this dominant.
And he showed his playmaking abilities.
Yeah,
this
that,
time
like
as well.
his facilitating ability.
Like he averaged 10 assists a game and 20
Yeah.
points. And the only people that have done that were Magic. I was listening on the radio on the way back. It was Magic, LeBron. I forgot the other two, honestly. But I think,
Yeah.
like, if you're on a
it's
list with
good
Magic
company.
and LeBron.
That's why
Yeah, exactly.
good company, right?
Yeah.
Also averaged 30 plus points in the conference
Oh, it was
final.
Jordan. I think they put it on TV, too.
Oh.
It was Jordan and I forgot
He
the
also
other
averaged 30 plus points in the conference final. And
Yeah.
he did well enough against the Suns and Timberwolves they were supposed to be anyways.
Yeah, no, like, because like I said, if it wasn't for the Lakers and outside of the Lakers, yeah, maybe the Raptors, but they obviously didn't make the playoffs. But I would have probably been rooting for. Yeah, I get it. It was a Western Conference team and they played the Lakers, but just wanting to see this Denver team win, how they were constructed.
Says the guy wearing a Warrior shirt,
Well, this is Steph Curry, and you got me this shirt.
but you're wearing it.
You're a Canucks fan wearing a Capitals shirt, so
He's a Ovechkin.
so exactly.
Different conference.
Listen, Steph Curry was one of the reasons why I got into basketball even more when the Lakers were bad. So outside of that reason, I'm just saying, and the Warriors have won enough. I'm talking about like the way Denver was constructed through the draft. You know, Jokic being the latest pick ever to win the Finals MVP in 41.
And no like real big name. Like they didn't really big.
Yeah, like even like Jokic is a superstar, but he isn't like the superstar you market
Like
around.
he isn't the LeBron James. He isn't like that guy.
Steph Curry or like Kobe and whatever.
Giannis like has more of a face in the league. Than
Yeah,
Jokic
and then you
does.
don't know what you were gonna get from Jamal Murray consistently until he showed it, right? Had guys like Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown, so that's why I was rooting for them to win. Just because of that. I'm not saying that I didn't want Jimmy Butler to win either, which we'll get into shortly here, but yeah. The other thing is Stan Kroenke.
Bro is absolute goated.
So those of you who don't know who Stan Kroenke is, he's the owner of essentially almost all the Colorado sports, and He's the owner of the Denver Nuggets, who won the championship this year.
Denver
He's owner of the
Nuggets.
Colorado Mammoth, I believe, who were the lacrosse champions from last year. He's the owner of the Colorado Avalanche, who's the Stanley Cup champions from last year. He also owns Arsenal and the Colorado Rapids from the MLS and Arsenal from the EPL, who could have had a championship this year. And
LA Rams.
yeah, he owns the SoFi, the stadium itself, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like the most expensive stadium. And yeah, like
The
you
most
said,
nicest
LA
stadium as
Rams, who
well.
won the Super Bowl last year.
So Rams won the Super Bowl last year, with the Avalanche winning last year, with the Nuggets winning this year,
With the Mammoth winning last year. So they had 4
with the
championships.
Mammoth winning last year, and then Arsenal almost winning, but Arsenal at least coming back to its glory days for sure.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? I'm talking about this Denver team in general. Like, we're not going to, like, we'll obviously get into the offseason stuff more so the week of the draft, which is on the 22nd. They have some free agents, I think, or some options they got to deal. The new CBA is restricting, like, big three. This more so they have that you need to have an elite dynamic duo, which they have. Um, so the question is, are they able to bring back the guys, or like I don't know what the tax paying levels are.
Do you know who really the free agents are?
Bruce Brown has a team option or a player option, and he deserves his money now. Like he only signed a
Yeah.
$6 million contract, which is insane, and then like
I mean,
7
nobody
million for
wanted
next year.
him for. That's like so surprising for me because he was the only relevant.
He also took a pay cut, I believe,
Yeah.
from what I heard. But
because nobody wanted him.
But the thing
he's
is,
like,
also
he
I was
wants a
listening.
team.
I was listening to First Take or Stephen A. Smith on Pat McAfee show, I think it was, and he was saying that like Kroenke is that type of a cheap owner, so he might not, pay out. So even though he owns all these teams, like it's a $12 billion franchise he's running essentially amongst all the sports teams. So we'll look into that. Like again, I don't understand the new CBA. All I know it makes it tough for you to like build a team around a big three, like how the Warriors kind of did with KD back then. Well, they kind of had like a big four, but so my question to you is, can they repeat / create a dynasty from this team?
They need
Depending on who obviously comes
to. They
back.
need to bring him back. They need to run it back for sure. I feel like they could definitely need to bring Bruce Brown back.
Yep.
They gotta find a way to bring that guy back
I
because
still think they need a proper backup center.
yeah, they do for sure.
Obviously, their backup center was mainly Aaron Gordon when Jokic is off, right? Thomas Bryant didn't play much after the trade from the Lakers. DeAndre Jordan ain't definitely not. I know, like he's not in that shape anymore to play.
NBA champion DeAndre Jordan.
True, but I'm just saying that Ish Smith as well, by the way,
Ish Smith.
Mr. Journeyman there. But yeah,
For me, yeah, backup big, like you said, and I would say like just another 3-and-D guy if you could find one, just off the bench.
yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the Heat before I get into like general stuff here. As much as we were criticizing Jimmy Butler a lot, you also have to give him his props for what he did. Like this is an 8 seed team that almost got knocked out by the Bulls, right? Like 2 Max Drew shots away from being out in the play-in, right? And then who knows? Probably the Celtics would have been here, or the Bucks probably would have been here. One of the two, in my opinion. He dragged their ass here. Obviously, he wasn't the best player in this series for his team, and you could argue that Caleb Martin probably had a better series than him last series. The Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, he did what he did with the Bucks against the Bucks, and then who did they win in the second round? The Knicks.
The Knicks.
I feel like he was like that was just like all around. Nothing.
No, they were just like everyone was better than the Knicks.
Yeah. So,
Like it was a team.
but for
it was
me,
like a
I
team
feel like you're
effort.
gonna say the same thing, which we'll get into the NBA rumors. They need. I think Jimmy Butler's not a superstar. I've said that before. I think he's on that tier of Anthony Davis, Paul George. So he's like a 1A 1B situation. So he definitely needs a person, and I feel like that star / all-star caliber player needs to be a scorer
I would say
to team
Point
up with
guard.
him and Bam.
I would say point guard.
I feel
Right.
like Jimmy Butler is not a chucker either. He handles the ball well. Like, and then yeah, like a point guard. Like I said, they don't. I don't think.
I'm
they
not
need,
saying like I'm saying
I don't
like,
think they need a. I think they need a scoring guard
like a scoring guard
or a scoring
point
winger
guard.
or something.
So obviously, another one name comes to mind is Damian Lillard.
Yeah, which
An-
we'll get into slowly.
Another name comes to mind, Kyrie Irving, who could be available.
Which I'll get into because there are some rumors.
And then at the minimum,
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal, but even lower a little bit maybe. I think you could still survive, but you might not win. It's probably Fred VanVleet.
No, they need not Fred VanVleet because Fred VanVleet is not 1A 1B.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like
If you
That's
get Fred VanVleet, then
that's
you
the
need to
lowest.
find either like, then Pascal Siakam type player needs to
Yeah,
join.
no, I'm saying that's the lowest you could go. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Like if you want to add a point guard, like those are, or
Plus
like a
they're
guard.
they're capped out, so they gotta fix some
Yeah,
stuff as well. I think they can't even go Fred VanVleet. I think they have enough of his caliber right now with all the other undrafted guys that they need to go after because they have free agents and Gabe Vincent, I believe, and Caleb Martin, and I think they need to go after
well,
Bradley
obviously you gotta
Beal.
go for. I'm thinking like he's fourth option. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. I'm like with you, but like obviously you go after Dame, Kyrie, and like Bradley Beal before him.
yeah, because
But
like
I'm
here's
saying
the thing.
that's a minimum you
Because
could go.
the reason why we're saying this is also because Jimmy Butler, when he ever since he joined the Heat, right, made it all the way to the finals but lost. Right, then he got swept by the Bucks. Then he lost in 7 to the
Celtics.
Celtics, and then he lost again as the 8th seed.
So he
So
made out of the 4 years, 3 of the 4 he made
like
conference
Heat culture could
finals.
only get you so far. I
Yeah,
feel like you still need talent, and this series proved it for sure. Right, like obviously if the Heat had won, I would have not been mad or anything because I would have been like praising the Heat because I feel like they deserved it as well. The type of team they have no legit superstar. As good as Jimmy Butler is in the playoffs, he hasn't played like a superstar, right? So they need some talent for sure. And I get it. Tyler Hero was injured, but how much would have Tyler Hero propelled the series? Let's be honest. 6 games, maybe 7.
yeah. It was still Denver was favored. Denver is
Yeah,
like the most
for sure,
dominant.
right? So for me, I think like great season, right? Like if we were to rank them before the season or before the playoffs, we probably would have said like yeah C tier before the playoffs started because we're like this should not be an 8 seed. They're disappointing. They're kind of like the Florida Panthers, which we'll get into. That like literally how perfectly mirrored they were. And then when the playoffs are around, you're like, okay, there is something there, but can it be sustained? I think they just need more talent.
They
That's
need more
all.
talent for sure.
Um, that being said, the early favorites for next year, obviously Denver's number one. I think the Bucks are number two. Obviously the Celtics, the Suns. I forgot what other random team they put in there. But who do you think? Do you think the Nuggets repeat next year? As of right now, obviously recency bias, but keep in mind for the last 5 years, there's been a different champion.
Yeah, no. First, I want to bring up something is that I watched the first take clip where I think was it
Mad
Chris
Dog Russo.
Mad Dog Russo
Don't
put
bring
like
that up.
huh
This is why I don't watch him.
bro he put like what
The
the
Kings on
top
it
he put the Kings and the
and
Thunder.
OKC Thunder on it. So yeah, nah. The
Yeah,
minute I saw a picture, I'm like, I ain't gonna watch
yeah.
this.
It was like
The
Denver.
reason why I would watch it is just to see JJ Redick just go at him.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
was like Denver, then the Warriors, then like someone else. Then it was like Thunder. No, the Kings, and then the Thunder. I was like, bro, what the hell is wrong with you? Uh, Denver to me, obviously, and
Because I
realistically,
said
who won
last year,
last year?
yeah,
Warriors.
I said last year. Realistically, I gotta give Warriors that respect.
I
But
didn't think Warriors
I
gonna
thought
win.
the Clippers, if healthy, would have been it,
Yeah,
right? But same thing here. I feel like okay, if this Denver team comes back, they're definitely scary. But then you look at Phoenix.
who could make a big move?
Well, not even a big move. They just need to
Like a move,
like if they add a Fred VanVleet and
like
then
a Fred VanVleet. And
and
the
and
thing,
caliber role players,
yeah,
they're probably my favorite on paper because we saw what Book and KD did to the Nuggets without any help, with no point guard. Devin Booker had to play point guard with the effortless DeAndre Ayton, who got benched for Jock Landale.
yeah. Well, that's just a players thing. I'm not gonna put that
Yeah,
into.
for sure. Again, we won't get into the offseason stuff too much, but I'm just saying like early favorites. I think the Suns might be the biggest one, and the Bucks. I feel like Giannis will definitely be motivated.
Yeah, Suns for sure. And the Eastern, I feel like the Eastern teams are always the same. Bucks, Celtics. You could
Until we see
obviously
some moves,
you
yeah,
could also
we
chuck in
can.
the Heat and then the
Until we
Sixers.
see some moves, we
The
can't.
Sixers getting
Yeah.
eliminated in the second round.
Um. Okay, so out of the teams that have not won a championship, I'm guessing the Suns and the Clippers have the most potential to win it. The first one,
Yeah, I mean, I
because I
hope.
don't think the Hornets and the Grizzlies are anytime soon. Or well, Grizzlies may, but we
Nah,
don't.
bro, Jaws
No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying
situation.
next year. I'm saying future down the line.
Yeah,
And I feel like the favorite as of right now is the Suns
it's Suns for
or
sure.
Clippers if healthy.
A healthy Clippers and a healthy Suns. Obviously, they're the two best bets. I mean, like this, they're spending a lot, right? They have like 2 superstars or all stars minimum.
One superstar and one all star for sure.
Like 1 superstar, 1 all-star at the minimum.
Like they're
on
a
both
1A and
teams.
1B gear. Like for
Yeah,
sure.
they're like 1A, 1B. Issue is Kevin Durant's been pretty injured this last few years. Kawhi Leonard, obviously. Paul George. The only one that's healthy was like Devin Booker. the way that Devin Booker played in this playoffs was like pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Like he really like showed that he's that guy. So they really need they just need to fill out the roster.
Yeah. So we mentioned the name Bradley Beal earlier. So we'll get into some trade rumors. The first one, not this is not even a rumor. This is a legit thing that happened. Fred VanVleet, your boy from the Raptors, has officially declined his player option, making him an unrestricted free agent. Now that being said, you could still bring him back. You could still probably do a sign and trade. This is the first big domino to fall, right? Because the draft class is kind of weak in terms of superstars, like how it was when Kawhi and all these guys were free agents, right?
The free agent class,
Yeah.
not
So
the draft class. Draft class is very strong.
sorry, I'm
Superstars.
at the free agent class, and Fred VanVleet is one of the top names, right? Rightfully so. He's a good player. Obviously struggled last year a bit, but teams are out for get him, right? Phoenix. You mentioned Miami potentially. You could mention the Sixers. You could mention the
There's
Lakers.
also like another
You
like
could mention the Clippers.
up and coming teams like Orlando. Like they might
Yeah,
be
true.
interested as
But
well.
I'm just saying, like, I'm just looking at title,
Yeah, like if you're
a
looking at
piece
title
away from a
favorites,
title
yeah.
type of team. So first off, your thoughts? Do you want him back? Do you want to try to at least get a sign and trade? Do you think the Raptors?
It's gotta be sign and trade.
I listened to Michael Granger. He said he thinks he'll be back. By the way,
We can't give him the max because I
Oh,
know he wants
30 mil
close.
minimum.
Yeah, we can't give him that. There's no way.
Yeah, because
Because what we're expecting him to be the guy. He's not the guy, right?
yeah,
The reason why he was good in that 2019 run, especially after the Sixers series, is because
his kid was born.
yeah, obviously that was one thing. No, but like right now he's like he has to open up the court for himself. Where in
Which he
that
did
case,
well with Kyle after Kawhi left,
yeah,
and then he had an All Star year the year after as well.
yeah, and but then obviously when with Kawhi is opening up the court for him,
Yeah,
right? And then now it's just
Pascal ain't that guy for him to do that.
Pascal and
OG, Scotty.
Fred. I mean, like
Oh,
those are
okay.
two.
Yeah,
Like you say, your two best players. Obviously, Pascal, in my opinion, played better this past year for sure. But Fred
he-
was just really inconsistent
yeah.
from threes.
I feel like again we're not gonna get into the offseason. Your team will talk about them next week. But yeah, that's just the one domino to fall. Predictions I think are like Phoenix, Lakers, Clippers, like the big time names, and like you said, even like I saw reports of Houston,
I saw one for
Orlando as well. So that's the first big domino to fall is that he's officially an unrestricted free agent, which wasn't a surprise. But yeah, moving on. Um, I'm gonna pose this question to you because this is a rumor that I've been seeing. That I'm gonna pull up some one from the Twitter account. The Pelicans want to trade up to 2 or 3
Yeah, I
in
saw
eyes to get Scoot Henderson.
Yeah.
And there's a name that Brian Windhorst mentioned that they might be trading. In your eyes, in my eyes, we might be thinking Brandon Ingram. But no, teams are inquiring about Zion Williamson. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's tough, bro. You gonna really trade Zion for Scoot?
That's
Right.
I think one of the NBA like Central or Legion Hoops have posed that question.
Like you're really trying to trade Zion for Scoot? I get Zion's been injured a lot for sure, but he's still your best player, right?
Yeah, because right now the Hornets are seeking the sun, moon, and the stars, and maybe some beachfront property in exchange for the number 2 pick. This is some guy named Amiko Hoops. I don't know how he is, but obviously it's valuable, right?
It is
If
valuable
someone's
because
gonna
like
trade up that much.
Wembanyama is that dude. Scoot could be that dude for sure. Brandon Miller, like it's clear that these top three guys have the potential to be superstars in this league,
Yeah,
right? So like obviously, I'm not saying that like getting rid of Zion won't be the worst thing because obviously injury factor and you're paying that guy that much money just for him to sit on the bench or on the sidelines
So-
or like all that.
Zion. People around the league are monitoring Zion Williamson's trade status before the draft, per Brian Windhorst of ESPN. So I thought when I saw that, I'm like, okay, that means they're gonna try to trade away Brandon Ingram, which and then a team like Portland would make sense because the 3 pick. Because I feel like Brandon Ingram isn't that tier to be traded for the 3rd overall pick, right? Obviously, depending on the package. But yeah, Zion. People are questioning his work ethic. People are questioning what he is mentally. I'm not saying he is no Ben Simmons or anything like that, respectfully. But we've seen him like what he was an All-Star starter this year and never played before the All-Star break. He got hurt, didn't play. Right? People are saying that injury shouldn't take that long. So something's up. We've seen him the year before, missed a whole year.
Yeah.
I believe he missed the whole year. He had that 1 year, which was a shortened season. He made
He
the All
didn't. He didn't
Star.
play the. Did he play against the Suns? Suns. No, he didn't play against the Suns. And when they made it the 8th seed,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
he didn't. It was just CJ and Brandon Ingram.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's that rumor.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard. Like I understand why, because like you have that much invested into, and he's your face of your franchise right now. You have that much invested to him, and he's not shown much. It may not be because of ability, maybe because of injury,
Yeah,
and obviously, a guy being injured that many times, obviously will take a toll mentally for sure.
yeah,
But you got as a player, you got to be able to bounce back,
for sure.
right?
Like, you would be surprised if Zion Williamson gets traded. Essentially, like you spent the number one overall pick on this guy. Like
Yeah, I would be
his
surprised.
hype was similar to what Wembanyama's hype is this year.
Yeah, it is. It was
Yeah.
like
So
it'll be surprising for sure.
yeah. Okay. So moving on, before I start naming other names, this is just betting favorites to land some notable players according to Bet Online. I don't think any of these are really true. Like it will happen, but you just tell me. LeBron James to the Mavericks.
Yeah, I think he stays with Lakers.
Damian Lillard to the Heat.
I think that's true. That could
James
happen.
Harden to the Rockets.
Yeah,
Kyrie Irving Lakers. Now I don't know if this is assuming LeBron leaves or with LeBron, but
but with LeBron, yeah, maybe.
Russell Westbrook Knicks. I don't destroy what they're doing down there.
Huh?
I don't destroy what they're doing down there personally. Jalen Brunson is the guy there.
Yeah, like,
I think they need to find a better wing player if anything.
There's no point.
Trey Young
The
Lakers.
wing player, they have Barrett and then
Way
Randall.
better. Like if they want to be better, they're
No,
not.
Barrett could go to 2, right? Yeah, that too.
Trey Young Lakers.
Maybe I think they need a better 2 guard, in my opinion.
Yeah, and better than Julius Randle if you really want to compete.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trey Young Lakers. Potential.
I mean, yeah, if like Kyrie doesn't work, I
Chris
think
Paul Spurs.
I think he just needs a
I
job.
think he goes
right?
to a contender, but
Yeah, I think he was contender for sure.
Draymond Green Jazz. I don't think so.
No.
I feel like if he leaves the Warriors, it's gonna be for another good team, or maybe go to Detroit, where he played in Michigan State. So, Fred VanVleet Suns, that one makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
Middleton Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, they could, like, Thunder probably want to try to add, like, a scorer.
I don't think this one makes as much sense based on the fit. Vucevic to the Celtics. I don't think the fit's there defensively.
Defensively, yeah, no, but, like, you get points from a big man. That's what they've been lacking. So
He'll be a third option there, so yeah.
Yeah,
he had a good year this year.
Yeah, it's something that, like, you're gonna have to see, because obviously defensively he's not the best, but he could give you points.
Yeah. Al Horford to the Hawks.
It's a reunion.
Yeah. D'Angelo Russell to the Suns. That could be a
That could be a good one too. Yeah.
Dylan Brooks to the Heat. I feel like that he fits that culture and they'll fix him up.
Spoelstra will smack him.
Yeah. And then DeAndre Ayton to the Mavericks is rumored, obviously.
Yeah, they could use a big man too.
Okay, so that's the betting. So here are some rumors that we're seeing. Kyrie Irving has some level of interest in joining the Miami Heat, but the Heat would prefer to go after Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal per Ira Heat Beat at Ira Heat Beat. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. I think that if they have Kyrie Irving and he plays the way Kyrie Irving plays, then yes, they probably would have won the championship this year, even.
Yeah, they
so it makes sense. And then on top of the Damian Lillard, which we'll get into.
I want to see Dame there. You just want to see Dame get help.
Yeah.
Either him leaving or Portland actually get help for him.
Miles Bridges announces that he will be back soon. I think his suspension is up or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. The Brooklyn Nets have had a long-standing interest in John Collins per Nets Daily. He needs a change of scenery personally, so maybe he could thrive in the younger squad there. In Brooklyn, there's a pathway for the Miami Heat to land both Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal.
Actually,
there's a pathway now. I don't know how much they have to give up. Yeah,
like Vincent's gone. Obviously Lowry will be gone. Strus could be gone. Caleb Martin could be gone.
So Bobby Marks' trade idea for Bradley Beal for the Heat, which is a team that I think out of the two, I think Beal's more likely after the report, which we'll get to today, is Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and a top 10 protected pick in 2028. Which I think kind of makes sense because Beal's contract is massive and he's up there in age now. He has been obviously quiet the last few years, but it's the Washington Wizards. If I'm the Washington Wizards, you rebuild. at
You
this
have
point.
to, right? Like, you've been mediocre,
And then Tyler Hero is
basically.
a pretty good guy to get back in return. So that's why maybe another pick or two, seconds or whatever first. I feel like that's an okay package.
Yeah, it's okay package for sure.
Blazers aren't interested in trading Damian Lillard right now, which I have a lot of thoughts about this. Um, we'll talk about this more next week. But again, this is per Brian Windhorst. Kendrick Perkin predicts James Harden to the Lakers. I mean,
This Kendrick
I don't want
Perkins.
it. True. He predicts though. He doesn't have. This is a
Yeah, I know.
prediction.
Obviously, his prediction.
Um,
I don't think that happening.
already told you the Hornets one. The Boston Celtics are not interested in Bradley Beal. Their main priority is to extend Jaylen Brown to that $295 million extension.
That's a lot, though.
Milwaukee Bucks are a potential suitor for Bradley Beal. Middleton's a free player option, so makes sense there. Good partner for Drew Holiday.
It fits because one plays defense, the other
Yeah.
is lax defensively.
Spurs not picking up the phone for potential Wembanyama trade offers. So okay, good
Why
job.
would they?
The Pacers are a team to keep an eye on. Kyle Kuzma, because he's also a player option, and he's rumored to opt out. Sixers are not expected to be interested in Bradley Beal. Per Jay Clark NBCS, they believe Maxey has all-star potential.
He does. I agree.
Wizards would like to move into the top 3 of the draft. The Miami Heat are expected to be a prominent suitor for Bradley Beal. Per Shams, Wemby not likely to play a summer league. Golden State Warriors are pursuing a trade of Jonathan Kuminga for a high draft pick. Now, I don't know what their definition of a high draft pick is and which year they're talking about, but and there's okay, so this one I need your opinion on. There's a sense that Toronto could be significant trade players depending on how aggressively they want to get involved with the likes of Pascal Siakam and others. This is trade deadline all over again.
Yeah, right. Like, nothing happened at the
You
end
end
of
up
the day.
getting Jakob Pertl. So
Yeah, like, well, we got rid of a pick to get him,
yeah,
and he's also a free agent. No, like, just trade back. If that trade for number 3 is there, and you have to give a Pascal Siakam, I'm doing it.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like Portland is rumored. You get Scoot or Brandon Miller. You could also package OG if you get Brandon Miller. If you got Scoot, you got to find a way to make it work. You have a coach that's good at player developing, so we'll see with that. Again, we'll get into that more next week. Teams are keeping a very close eye on Bradley Beal and the Wizards. And yeah, that's the thing. And the last thing I want to get into, I just saw two NBA related things before we get into the NHL because we're obviously running into the NBA a lot here. One, there's a report that Australia is still waiting to hear back from Ben Simmons to play for their team. Here's my thought. Obviously, we know what Ben Simmons is like in terms of off the court stuff. If I'm Ben Simmons personally, I'm taking the opportunity to play in Australia to at least show that you have
show something.
show
Right?
something.
Show some life.
Simple as that. Why should we be excited for you? If you're gonna be doing this ticky tack shit with Australia too, like they're not, he's not getting back to us like he's doing with the Nets or whatever the Sixers, then yeah, I've given up hope. I still believe he has a talent in the world. He was an
You have
all-star for a
nothing.
reason.
You have no leverage.
He has an all-star for a reason.
Teams are better off without you.
Yeah.
Right. That's what
Which just sucks
I'm
because like
saying
the
right now.
dude's like an elite playmaker and defender. Yes, he doesn't shoot, can't shoot, but even if he just drives to the basket, be aggressive, we know what he's been an all-star through that alone.
Yeah,
So
like
we've
he has
seen
shown
that
signs,
potential.
but he's ever since then he's just shown regression.
Yeah, and the last thing of the NBA before I don't think I have anything else, but I'll double check. Is shout out to the Detroit Pistons for giving
Monty Williams, right?
Williams that package because Monty Williams' wife had has breast cancer, and this was during the playoffs, so he wasn't planning on taking the year off, right? And I'm gonna try to find the exact article here, but essentially he just
Detroit gave him the time
yeah, so Detroit gave him
and the money.
healthcare benefits,
Yeah.
private jet access, and money obviously on top of that. So they're obviously taking care of that. So we're just a shout out to Detroit. That's a class move for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you want your guy, and they did everything to help him out with his situation to help him come to you, and obviously you're doing something good in return for sure. And then obviously Monty Williams saying that like that his wife was able to get detected early because they kept on doing regular scans and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and that was his message to like with people who are feeling any symptoms. It's just like, get checkups regularly, get scans done regularly, and the best way to beat cancer is like try to catch it early.
Yeah. And yes, before we move on to the NHL, the last rumor I see here is that if the Rockets fail on James Harden, Austin Reeves is a name to watch out for.
Yeah,
But
Reeves would
anyways,
be a big name
that
for
should be
sure.
enough for the NBA right now.
That's a lot. That's more than enough for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, NHL. Again, we have champions. The Vegas Golden Knights have officially won it in 5 games with a 9-3 beatdown.
Yeah, 9-3 beatdown. Florida were in it when they made it 2-1.
Yeah, when I got
But
home,
then-
it was 2-1.
Yeah, then ever since then,
Then I'm
Vegas
like,
just
alright.
went off. And
At
just
that point,
took
I'm just
over.
like, all right, just show me who's gonna win Conn Smythe, because that was the biggest
Honestly,
debate.
it was like very like it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Like genuinely did not know who would have won, and obviously they gave it to a original. And
Before we get into
Jonathan
that, let's
Marchessault.
just talk about the game quickly.
What is there talk about? It's 9-3.
Vegas no Kachuk injury. That's the big thing.
That didn't happen in the game. That happened before the game.
But I'm just saying it's still a big thing.
Yeah.
We have to mention that he did not play.
All right. Kachuk did not play, and they got whooped.
Okay, but okay. But I mean, we still have to show that respect because it's
let's
Matthew
go.
Kachuk.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, Matthew Kachuk did not play Game 5. After the game, Paul Maurice, the head coach, said that he got a broken sternum in Game 3. So the fact that he scored the tying goal in Game 3 and then was a factor in the game-winning goal in overtime says a lot. And the other big injury was Ekblad dislocated shoulder multiple times. I think it was twice. Broken foot. And he was playing on a torn oblique. And Radko Gudas was obviously injured as well. Again, these guys played. I'm not saying that healthy they would have beaten Vegas or anything, but you still got to give them an applause for playing on that. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it's a lose-lose situation when it comes to injuries. But yeah, it is what it is. But you still give Vegas all the credit in the world. Their long drought of 6 years is over.
Very long. I think like their owner predicted 6 years we're gonna win a cup, and you got it.
He got it, yeah. So
Vegas, they were just aggressive every year, right? Like they came up short, obviously year 1, and then year 2 I think they blew a lead, like a 3-1 lead. Then obviously they started adding players like Mark Stone. They got Pacioretty, got rid of Pacioretty. You add in Chandler Stevenson. You add in Barbashev. You add in freaking Robin Leonard. You got rid of Marc-Andre Fleury. You got rid of Nate Schmidt, like the fan favorites, right? They were ruthless and they were aggressive because they wanted to win the cup, right?
Yeah.
They have an identity. You get big players that could play physical and are fast.
yeah, that I'm gonna get into that. Actually, I have a question about that later on. But the Conn Smythe, right? Pick your poison. Like you said, it was Aiden Hill,
I was just doing it for a storyline.
but you were then picking who?
It was like the way that Marchessault played in the series. I thought in my head the favorite was.
If you had the
Marchessault.
vote, it was Marchessault.
I would have given Marchessault.
For me, it was Eichel, right? But then I would have not been. You can't argue it, right? Like you can't argue against Eichel. You can't argue against Hill. You can't argue against Marchessault. You can't argue against
Mark Stone.
Mark
Or
Stone.
Petrangelo was in the conversation as well.
No, you have him and William Carlson, Chandler Stephenson. So anyone, pick your poison. You couldn't really make a big case against, right? Like obviously goals stand out, so I understood why Marchessault ended up getting it. But yeah, Marchessault got it. Yeah. Back to Florida. They have some free agents, I believe, Brandon Montour and all these guys. Again, I didn't look into the free agency class right now. How much of it do you think they could recoup next year? Like, obviously, Kachuk has shown that he's probably one of the 4 or 5 best players in the world. 10 for sure, right? Like, you could debate the 5. But at least of this year, he was a top 3 player because he was part of the MVP conversation. The Hart.
Yeah, it's hard because like the run they went on was
Insane.
But like when you really think about it,
7-0 in overtime, I believe.
no, I'm not getting into that. I think when you think about it, Toronto series, Carolina series, what really saved them?
Bobrovsky.
And Kachuk.
And how much are you going to get this Bobrovsky?
How much you can get that again, right? Like in those, like it's hard to win games when you're not the better team.
Yeah.
And Florida managed a way to do that all the way to the finals.
So
it's hard to like
because they were my disappointing team until they made the playoffs.
Yeah,
right.
And obviously the playoff one for sure, but they're gonna need to add some talent
for sure. And here's my thing for you now. We're going back to the Vegas. I know we're crystal crossing here. There's nothing much to talk about the game. Um, Again, Vegas, they had 6 golden misfits. That's like they call it. And obviously, like you said, Marshall got the Conn Smythe, and they moved on from pieces, right? And I was listening to Halford and Bruff in the morning, and they were talking about loyalty in sports. Clearly, Vegas had no loyalty, right? Like
No,
you show they were ruthless. Like Marc-Andre Fleury was a fan favorite. Look how they treated him, right?
Nate
And
Schmidt was a fan favorite. Got rid of him to get
they gave
Petrangelo.
Alex Tuck a massive contract, like an extension, not a massive like in terms of like a 7-year extension. In terms of money, I don't know how much it was, and you instantly trade him for Jack Eichel. So any opportunity they got, they pounced, right? And you could say that Gary Bettman helped them, sure, it's fine, but at the same time, how much is it because teams gave up players, exposed them to the expansion draft, and then they were able to flip those guys, especially
When they were able to protect their own players too.
especially that part was kind of stupid, but especially when they won the first year, it's like, okay, they got the confidence. There's a reason why Nate Schmidt got traded to the Canucks for a 3rd-round pick, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you is the loyalty in sports in general. Where do you stand on things? Because you experienced it for this championship right here. DeMar DeRozan was a huge fan favorite, and I don't know what was your initial reaction to that DeMar DeRozan trade, and were you like many people, pissed off that they got rid of him?
Okay, yeah. Like I wouldn't say I was happy, right?
Yeah,
But it is a business,
right.
right?
And
You
what happened?
wanna
Guess what you got out of it?
GMs, front offices, owners are gonna make moves to win, right? That's what they do. That's why they have their jobs.
Yeah,
They don't like. Yes, DeRozan was a fan favorite. Yes, Schmidt. Yes, Fleury was a fan favorite. And sometimes people just do get treated poorly. Like there are situations where like the guy's actually playing good and you trade him for no reason, right?
yeah.
But in this case, like you can't fault them because they got what they wanted.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because you see fans all over, right? I know you're not on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. You see just in general reactions, maybe on Instagram as well, right? That like when a fan favorite gets traded, for example, I'm gonna get into the Bo Horvat example here, that team players get pissed, right? And obviously the Bo Horvat thing happened long before we started the podcast, but I'm gonna just bring that up because I love Bo Horvat, right? Bo Horvat, I wish him all the best in the Islanders, right? I'm not that guy that says, fuck Bo Horvat, screw this guy, he's no longer a Canuck, right? In my opinion, he did not want out. The situation, how he played, he obviously, the organization did not believe in him to give him the contract they feel like he deserved and he wanted, right? There's a reason why he got traded, right? And obviously people are pissed, like, oh my God, you kept JT Miller, which is a whole different argument. We're not going to get into that. But the thing that pissed me off was, as much as I love Bo Horvat, he was probably my favorite Canuck at the time. And the thing is, he didn't do anything for Vancouver long term. Now, is it his fault completely? No, I blame Benning for a lot of it because you did not build a proper team around it, except for the 1 year in the bubble, which we were already in a playoff spot before the shutdown happened. But except for that 1 year, um, he was a good captain, but he wasn't a great captain. Like he wasn't vocal. He wasn't like, I'm not saying like every captain needs to be freaking like a Brad Marchand type or Matthew Tkachuk type guy, because Henrik Sedin was not that. But show by example, right? Show some emotion in some other sense. The thing that pissed me off was like when the fans were like, "Oh my God, look how good Bo Horvat's doing in New York." Well, now his ass is at home, and now they're quiet, right? Like he struggled in the playoffs mightily.
He did struggle.
So
he didn't like Islanders just got what 4-2'd,
you could
and I was surprised they even got 4-2'd.
you could
I
yeah
thought it'd be
you could you could
I
still
thought it was a 4-0.
you could still respect and love what Bo Horvat did in Vancouver. He did not want out. He publicly said he wanted to stay here. So I'm against the people that are saying, "Oh yeah, he didn't want to be here." Blah blah blah. The money situation. Listen, I'm for every guy to get paid. If he deserved his money, let him live. Like the fans that are saying, like the one comment he made, which he took back, was that, oh, better than Vancouver comment. Whatever, right? He got his 8 by $8.5 million a year, right? He's moved on. The fans need to move on as well.
Here's my point.
Especially with 1 second, especially with that situation. Because he did not do shit here that gave us success. One playoff run isn't a successful thing, right? If you were truly that guy, you would propel a team to a playoffs. Kind of like what I guess Pettersson didn't do much this year, but he still had 100 points, right? The rest of the team didn't do well.
Oh, it's not on Patterson.
Yeah, but in
here's my
that case,
point.
like Horvat did not do much in that case.
Yeah, no.
So the loyalty for me is like, yes, it made sense to trade him because if we had given him that contract, guess who looks like it's stupid?
That's already us because we did it with JT Miller. But here's my point. The same Raptors fan, like I'm about this topic about loyalty, the same Raptors fan that were pissed off about DeRozan getting traded are the same Raptors fans celebrating a title.
Exactly my point, right?
Right.
The thing with this, especially now, I'm not gonna put this on the Canucks fully, but I'm just saying like the fandom was like, do whatever it takes to get in the playoffs. Anything could happen mentality, or no, you need to rebuild. For me, it's like, yes, we'll get into the Canucks talk next week or the week after when we talk about the NHL draft. Is if they just general any team, if they did not bring you success, you need to be ruthless like Vegas did. Look how many changes they made. Okay, and then they're like, okay, it's time to move coaches. They moved Gerard Gallant.
They added every year.
They moved Gerard. On top of that, they moved Gerard Gallant. They moved Peter DeBoer. Gerard Gallant took him to the Stanley Cup Finals in his first year. He got fired.
In the second year, right?
First year, like the expansion, the initial year, Vegas.
Yeah.
He took him to the finals that year.
Then he got fired the next year.
Like the second or third year, right?
Yeah.
Then Pete DeBoer came. They got rid of him, right? They kept adding. They kept taking. I won't be surprised if they keep making moves this year just to be back where they are, right? Like Trevor Linden was on Halford and Brough in the morning, and he mentioned he didn't have the heart in him to tell the Sedins we wanted to rebuild. I love the Sedins. I understand there would have been. I gave the Bo Horvat example, but Sedins, as much as success they had in Vancouver, we did not get the ultimate prize. So if the ultimate goal was to maybe move them or tell them, hey, we're rebuilding, you could stay here. If not, we'll try to find you a better place. That would have been the best choice. And now, if they had won the cup in 2011, then I would be like, yeah, don't trade them. Yeah. Because you got the ultimate goal. So there is factors, right? If you do win a cup, then you try to keep them for sure, right? Because they're synonymous to the franchise. And even then, me saying this take might be like, well, then that's stupid. Why do you only want to win one? You got to win more. In that case, fair game, right? My personal opinion is, and we're going to get into Atiba Hutchinson because we had to talk about this at the World Cup, was if those like Sedins are legends in Vancouver and they help you win a cup, then I'll be like, okay, that's fine. You keep them here. You try to build around them as much as you can. Look what Pittsburgh's doing with Crosby and Malkin, right? Now they're obviously elite, and they have multiple cups. But if they hadn't helped you win, even though it was so close, you have to move on to make your team better for the future and not handicap yourself for the now, which they kind of what they did, right?
It's a business.
To your point, you have to be ruthless and you need to see moves because people love to play it safe. And then you're like, oh my God, the fan base is going to be pissed off. Like,
who cares?
Yeah.
Right? You're doing your job. If you care about the fans thing, you're losing your job, right? Whatever GM or like, if you care about, the fans will be pissed. Who gives a shit? You're losing your job. It's your job, right? You want to think what's best for you and best for the team. You don't, right? Obviously, you want to think about the fans, right? But if you think what's best for their team and you execute, that's what's best for the fans.
You see what Vegas did. Now, it helps that you're a 6-year franchise and you have no ties to anybody, but it doesn't matter. Like, you got to move. Like, Masai Ujiri got rid of arguably the second best player at the time, or second greatest Raptor of all time.
People you might consider him first because like, he was like draft pick.
Yeah, exactly, right? So
like he was there, and he said himself that he wanted to be a Raptor for life.
Exactly, right?
Not enough people come here, and you traded him. Obviously, DeRozan would be pissed. Obviously, fans are gonna be pissed.
I don't care about DeRozan in this.
I don't know, but I'm saying like people are gonna be pissed,
right? So
if Lowry was pissed, Lowry moved on.
Yeah. Right? So people. That's what I'm saying with the Bo Horvat thing. I'm like, people got to move on. Like when he comes back to Vancouver next year, you give him he deserves a standing ovation. In my opinion, he deserves a video tribute, and then you move on. That's it. If he had won you a cup, like then I'm sure you could give him multiple video tributes, but he hasn't. You give him that one time, and you move on because he's living life in Long Island right now, right? And it's the same thing to your point with the Vegas thing. Is like, that's my point. Just be ruthless. Marc-Andre Fleury, right?
Nate Schmidt,
like you mentioned. So
they got rid of Nate Schmidt just to get Pietrangelo that year. I remember that year.
Exactly.
Because it was a bubble year. Pietrangelo's a free agent, right?
Yeah.
After the bubble, they're like, all right, Nate Schmidt, you're gone. You have $5 million. We're gonna get rid of your $5 million and get an extra $2 million. I think they paid like Pietrangelo like $7-8 million around there.
It's time to be ruthless. You can't be invested in a guy again. Like I said, Sedins were club legends. If they had won a cup, then I would have understood it
And
because
that like and
because
that
I'm gonna
okay.
contradict myself when we bring up a Tiba
No.
Hutchinson.
The
Obviously,
thing is this: with the Sedins is like there were signs that like, all right, you could make a cup final run. Obviously, I agree with you after like if you're gonna
like
rebuild and
essentially
trade
after
him.
2015.
Yeah, like after that, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, you could have argued to trading him, but like
Not
if
even just trading. I'm like, okay, if you want to stay here, this is how
like
much we're gonna give
gonna
you, but we're
rebuild,
gonna
yeah,
be shit essentially.
and then at that time we're like, okay, yo, you have a team around them, you have like Kester, you have Luongo, you have all these people around them. Like, okay, you can make a run, which they did, right? And they did come up short. And then the thing is, after that, when they got 4-1 by LA, right? And then after that, they didn't really
4-0'd by San Jose as well.
they did.
I think the next year.
Did they make the playoffs next year?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Like they weren't good after.
Yeah. Essentially, after 4-2 Calgary, it should have been like done.
Yeah,
Like,
I was thinking maybe even before that.
that was they missed the playoff only 1 year.
Yeah, right. So like legit after that 4-2 against Calgary, like especially it was Calgary,
Yeah,
right? That time Calgary they weren't that great compared to what you guys were. And you got
exactly. So
and Calgary low key dominated because they went up like 3-1 too.
yeah, no, I'm in that mindset of where like you got to think what's best for the team. You can't obviously ownership's a big factor in this, right? In any sport, and they are circumstances. Like I said, if you have won a cup, sure, you could argue that they should stay on the team.
Your point with ownership is like, yeah, sometimes ownership's like,
because they all
I don't want to rebuild because like I'm gonna lose ticket sales.
The reason why I'm bringing the loyalty thing is also the whole Damian Lillard situation. Right
Yeah.
now, sometimes some people are saying, "Oh, he's only loyal because that's where he gets the most money." Fair argument, right? But yes, is Dame loyal? I'm not even saying just the teams need to trade players. Players need to, like what Jack Eichel did, essentially, is what players need to do as well. Because you're gonna waste your time there, and it sucks because in the NHL you don't get 4-year contracts like you do in the NBA, which requires a lot of player movement, right? And it sucks that you're in a hard cap situation, but you have to force your way out at times, like Matthew Tkachuk did. Look where Matthew Tkachuk is now. You think Matthew Tkachuk is not happy? Yes, he's not happy he didn't win, but he ultimately at least made the final, which he never did with Calgary.
Calgary didn't make it past the second round.
Exactly. So players and teams need to be what's the word? Lethal, essentially, with their choices. Like you did it with Masai Ujiri, you did it with the Raptors, Matthew Tkachuk did it, and Jack Eichel did it with their respective situation. That's my point here, right? If you had won a cup, then for sure you could argue that person that you could say you don't get rid of that guy like a Jonathan Quick, for example. I didn't think Jonathan Quick should have been traded, but that's exactly my point. The Kings were lethal. They
right?
moved them on.
They needed a goalie. Like
exactly.
Kyle Peterson, $5 million, and he was in the AHL.
Right.
Jonathan Quick, obviously a year before he was great, really great, but age is catching up to him, and he wasn't great this year.
Yeah.
And obviously they made the move for Jonas Korpisalo.
You got rid of literally the guy that won you a cup, 2 of them, and obviously you saw the repercussions. My opinion in that case, I don't think you should move him on, but I think that the best choice was they moved on from him because you got Korpisalo and you got to see what he could do as a King, and now you could sign him as well.
It's kind of funny.
On top of that, Gavrikov.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because like if you look at numbers, right, they did worse this year than last year.
Yeah, no, for sure. So there's certain situations.
Yeah, there's situations like where like
if they are there from day
right?
one.
Yeah, no, like if you're like owners are taking over, like owners be like, yo, I don't want to rebuild. I want ticket sales.
Exactly, Dame Lillard.
Right?
Why would you trade Dame Lillard then?
Yeah, right. So then that case is tough to do your job as a GM.
As a GM, yes, but I'm just saying as an organization as a whole, because it's best for Damian Lillard to ask out, and it's best for Portland to move on, in my opinion, Damian Lillard to rebuild and build from the scratch. But no, because Damian Lillard brings you ticket sales, and he's the superstar attraction, that you're gonna keep him, right? So yeah, that's my point with the loyalty thing. Like, you gotta be lethal, and look at what it's gotten people, essentially.
Like your dream as a player, as an organization, is to win, right? And honestly, if that's not your dream, if that's not your goal, I don't know what type of organization you are.
Exactly.
I don't know what type of player you are.
And if you're a player, if you care about the bank, that's fine. Go chase the bag. That's your choice. At least you admit it. That's your choice. Like Carmelo Anthony kind of did back, because he was supposed to be the original Heedle.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, I think we should park it here. We might bring this convo up in the off season, but let's move on to some off ice news here. Unless you want to say anything about the Stanley Cup final.
I mean, no. Vegas was just they were the best team in the West,
And they were lethal.
And they were the best team. It was like Denver. They had the most dominant run.
Yeah, exactly. So they were 16-6, I believe, but
yeah, obviously they should have like ended Dallas earlier, and then
probably swept this one.
Yeah, probably swept this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So and they even Winnipeg. So the
I
only
mean, it didn't even matter because
true.
like they won at home.
Exactly. But yeah, moving on off ice, the Ottawa Senators have officially been sold. That saga has closed. Um, the story, like it was ongoing since Eugene Melnick passed away, and obviously, based on the news, like his ownership was kind of toxic. His estate, which was run by his daughters, they wanted to sell. You heard names like Ryan Reynolds. You heard names like Snoop Dogg. You heard names like The Weeknd, and until ultimately they did not buy it. And then there was this rich guy, Ostopoulos. I
I
forgot his
forgot
name,
his name too. Honestly,
but
I
he
think
wasn't. He wasn't by the Washington Commanders. He was in line for that.
he wasn't. And he was also. I think he has like prior NHL experience because I think he had a share in the Montreal
No,
Canadiens.
no, 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 no. I didn't name the guy that.
Huh?
You're talking about the guy that actually.
The Sands guy.
No, I'm talking about another bidder.
Oh, another
The
bidder.
Greek guy is not that guy.
Oh.
No, no, I didn't even mention who it was.
Oh, I'm talking about the actual guy.
Oh no, no, no! I'm not talking about the actual guy. I'm saying the
Boy, yeah.
Ostopoulos guy is the one
Yeah,
that
no, but
was
I'm saying
the guy who wanted
actual-
the Commanders.
The actual guy who
Yeah,
bought the
I'll
Sands.
announce his name in a second here. You jumped the gun here.
I'll just say clear up. Actual guy who bought the Sands
Yeah,
had prior NHL experience
but
by having a share in the Montreal Canadiens.
so his name is Michael Andlauer.
Yeah, and Lauer.
Who's like you said, a minority owner from Montreal in the past. He got it for 950 million, so it wasn't the billion, which is kind of surprising to me. Because again, I don't know how it's different between buying a European club, like we're facing it with Man United, to the NHL and NBA because you need to get it passed by the board of governors, the commissioner, and the other ownership crew. So I don't know if they just didn't want Snoop Dogg or whoever involved, because I'm sure they were probably forked out a billion, but so yeah, officially Michael Andlauer is buying this Ottawa Senators. People are saying it's a good owner because he will care. He's definitely spending a lot of his money because apparently his net worth is only a billion something. So, um, he's obviously an invested guy. He played, I think he's like you said, minority owner of the Montreal Canadiens, and he's been involved in hockey in a way. So, um, congratulations, Senators fans. You probably got some stability. Now the question is, I don't know if his ownership will pass by the time free agency is done, so they might stay put. But there's could be potential regime change, even though Pierre Dorian has done a pretty good job, in my opinion. And they have a pretty young team as well. So they just bring in Jacob Chikrin from Arizona mid-season, did pretty well for them. You have guys like locked up in Brady Kachuk, Tim Stutzla, Josh Norris, Jake Sanderson, is his name?
I forgot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Thomas
Thomas
Chabot.
Chabot, yeah.
So the only question mark right now is DeBrincat because he's the one that's gonna be a free agent soon. So
And yeah, they're obviously like he's obviously in the trade block.
yeah,
And then if Senators just need like what a little bit defense and goaltending.
goaltender 100%.
Yeah, goaltending number one priority.
Yeah, I mean they added their defense with Jacob Chikrin for sure.
Yeah.
So that's good there. So the Senators have officially been sold. It's not for a billion, but the good news is teams like Vancouver, if Aquilini wanted to sell, or like Toronto, whoever, they know that they could get at least a billion because the markets there are much bigger than Ottawa for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So this could open some eyes up and around the league, especially in Canada, that hey, maybe it might be best for us to sell. People don't like Aquilini, the owner, for obvious reasons. Maybe he wants to cash out, kind of like what the Glazers are doing. Boom, there's a chance he'll sell the team for like $1 billion. Ryan Reynolds is in the waiting. That's the case then. But
yeah. Moving on.
Moving on, we also have a coaching hire. Is this the last hire, or is there anyone else?
Columbus is still left.
Well, that's not. It's unofficial, official type of thing there.
Yeah.
With the Blackhawks, but the New York Rangers officially hired their head coach yesterday, and it's Peter Laviolette. Recently with the Washington Capitals, formerly with winning a cup with Carolina back in 2006, and he was part of Nashville.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Dude gets a job wherever he goes. This is his 6th NHL team apparently. I'll fact check that, but
I mean, he was with teams.
I'm not happy with the hire for them.
I don't know how to feel about this. I'll be honest.
I mean, he's a good coach. Clearly, he's getting hired. He's won a cup, so he's like a Doc Rivers in my eyes. But there's a reason why he's being bounced around.
Right? Yeah, because Washington missed the playoffs this year. Nashville, they were when his tenure was. Did they make the finals with him?
I'm gonna double check that right now.
It was like around like 2018, I believe. but he didn't win. Like it was like Doc Rivers. What Doc Rivers has one chip
He was with Philly as
a
well.
while ago, and then it's the same thing because Peter Laviolette has one chip a while
Yeah,
ago.
he made the playoffs every year with Nashville except the final 2019-20 year.
Yeah,
So
so
he's lost in the Stanley Cup Finals with Philly. He's lost in the Stanley Cup Finals with Nashville. He won the final with Carolina back in the day. So he's a good coach. He makes the playoffs, but for a Rangers team that's win now, it's obviously a win now hire. How much is he really gonna propel them? Is the question.
that is a big question. I mean, he can obviously could obviously be resurgence for sure. He's made multiple finals. Won a cup, so it's not like Doc Rivers where like
Or
Doc
even
Rivers
Bruce
struggled,
Boudreau.
huh?
Or even Bruce
Or
Boudreau.
Bruce Boudreau, like where they struggled to get past the second round, right?
Yeah.
So like he's had experience with long playoff runs, so there is potential, but there's also like he hasn't really shown a lot recently.
Yeah, that's like I guess a wait and see hire for me. Like it's a boring hire. I thought they would have obviously waited maybe for the Quenneville news, but obviously they probably need to get the draft stuff figured out. But because this is a hire for a win now team, the Rangers, there were some rumors that came out, and one of them, well, not a rumor, but more so like a projection and a prediction trade type of thing, and that is Alexei Lafreniere to the Vancouver Canucks. And I think it's Arthur Staple. He was on Halford and Bruff, so you could clearly tell where I get my sources from here. Was he just made a mock trade of linked between Connor Garland, right? Because obviously Canucks are gonna move on. Obviously, it's gonna be a sweetener from the Canucks side of things, probably, and it makes sense also because Emily Castonguay was the former agent before she became hired as the assistant general manager for the Canucks, and obviously, if I'm the Canucks, I take the bet on that. You get rid of salary, try to maybe have to hold back some salary. But the thing with Alexis Lafreniere is he was the Connor Bedard, not as hyped, but pretty hyped
It was a
still.
clear cut number one pick.
Yeah, he was a clear cut number one pick, but but the thing is, he hasn't lived up to it, and they're in win now mode, so they could probably move on from these young guys. New York Rangers, I don't understand. Their defenders, they've been fine, but their offensive players, Vitaly Krasov was a top 10 pick, got traded to the Canucks for nothing, and
Capo
now is out of the
Caco.
league. Capo Caco was supposed to be like a ready now NHL player. He's been struggling. Now you have Alexei Lafreniere. So I don't know what the hell they're doing in the development program in the forwards. I don't know if New York being a big market is also a factor because he did say that they are questioning Lafreniere's work ethic. So
Yeah,
obviously, if I'm trading Connor Garland, yeah, or Brock Besser, yes, go bring or Beauvillier, you bring back a guy like
yeah, like you
Lafreniere
got a like former
or even Kako, but
number one
yeah,
overall pick who was clear cut the number one overall pick. Obviously Rick Tocchet being in town, so like he's a strict guy.
yeah,
Like he's gonna take no BS, so he could fix that little work ethic mentality
yeah.
part for sure. I believe that, and
And from the
take a
Canucks
chance,
fans, I
right?
think
Like
take a chance.
he's a young
You
guy.
also get rid of as a Canucks fan, you get rid of the cap space.
You get some cap space. He's a young guy. If he works out, great. If he doesn't,
You let him leave like Krasov.
you let him leave. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no,
Obviously
that
you want him to work out because he's the number one overall pick,
exactly.
right?
That's
Like and he
that's
should work out,
yeah,
but the expectation he hasn't really met, so it's kind of hard to say.
yeah,
But it's a win move, right? Like you get rid of some cap space, you get a young guy in, and if that young guy turns into a stud, you got a potential forward duel for the foreseeable
yeah, no,
future
for
with
sure.
PD and him.
So yeah, no, exactly. So
But
that's it for
knowing the
that.
Canucks is not gonna happen.
Yeah. So that's it for the NHL side of things. Let's move on to some quickfire before we get into the soccer transfer. A lot of rumor talk today. Obviously, we've dragged it out a lot with that, but it is the offseason in every sport except the MLB, which quite ironically the trade deadline is approaching in a month. But quickfire quickly. We mentioned the Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor fight. Well, it is now official, and he hinted retirement. He officially announced his retirement on This Just In with Max Kellerman on ESPN, and at 25 years old. Obviously he beat Vasily Lomachenko, arguably the best lightweight at the time. He beat Josh Taylor, the best light welterweight at the time. Now, so he pretty much says like, yeah, maybe depending on the money, I might be back, but he wants to do other things which require him to not to train in boxing related. It sucks, obviously. 25-year-old guy with a lot of potential. A lot of big money fights could have happened with like the current
And he's already
lightweights.
shown a lot too.
Yeah.
Like
So,
for 25
and
years
the fight
old,
he did lose was that he was about to die. So,
like legit, it was like a health issue.
yeah.
Like they're saying that like he shouldn't have done the fight.
Yeah. I mean, for now, congratulations on your retirement. I feel like he might come back.
He'll come back,
But
but
it's not like, for me, I feel like Anamanda Nunez might be officially retired, but not Teofimo Lopez.
he'll be back. He just gotta
Money talks eventually.
yeah, money does talk. Yeah, whatever he wants to do on the side, he can do. But
Yeah.
he also has to deal with off like
Yeah,
like
allegedly stuff.
alleged
I know he
stuff issues,
mentioned
yeah.
like the child thing, but
like on the
I don't want. We're not gonna
after,
comment
yeah.
too much on that.
But like he has to deal with stuff.
You guys deal with stuff as well, so
Like,
it's a
there's
good
no-
good breather for now. 25, he's younger than me, so yeah,
And it's boxing too, right?
exactly.
You can
You know, people retire early for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other boxing news. This happened right before we started recording, essentially a couple of hours. Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, has vacated his belts, and his future is up in the air. That's all I read. Nothing more to it.
yeah, I mean like
He's obviously
he's in his 40s almost, or he is 40.
don't know.
But he's up there in age.
Obviously, last time we saw him fight, he got destroyed by Canelo.
Yeah, he's
but
up there in age. He's slowing down. Like his ability is going down for
41.
sure. Yeah, so his 41-year-old boxing, not good for the health,
Yeah.
obviously. So
So-
it's not like surprising that like retirement is a consideration,
Yeah.
but I think that might be the best bet, just as like if I'm saying health wise.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the NFL. There was some news yesterday which kind of cooled down today that Stephon Diggs was not in training camp, and
It was mini camp.
mini camp. Sorry, and Sean McDermott came out and said,
Like he was concerned.
yeah, he was concerned, and Josh Allen said it was partially his fault or something like that. But today he came in, he was there. So I don't know. Keep an eye on out. I guess I can't comment.
I don't know,
too
man.
much.
Just like maybe some mini.
It's
argument.
big if it's something trade related, contract related, then it's bad because obviously Josh Allen, the reason why he's successful is because of Stephon Diggs as well. I'm not saying he would not.
Vice versa as well.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying like when he came in was a reason when Josh Allen propelled further as well. So
And then Diggs propelled as a number one.
yeah, and the other one is D Hop. I know you were like, what the hell? What is this D Hop news that we have on the board there? But he met with the Titans, left without a contract. But rumors are this morning or today that he met with the Patriots and he might be signing with the Patriots.
I mean, I'd rather have Patriots over Titans
For
as
sure.
a Colts fan. But
Yeah.
I mean, Patriots do need a receiver, so it makes sense to get him. And obviously, Titans did too. But if I were to pick one, I would pick the Patriots.
Before we get into the MLB, I forgot to bring one thing up for the NHL. Current listed teams that have not won a Stanley Cup: Buffalo, Canucks, Sharks, Panthers, Coyotes, Predators, Jets, Wild, Jackets, Senators, and the Kraken. Who's potentially to win the Cup next?
Bro, that's a big list.
If you want to look at it, it's right here.
Pass it. All right, Sabres, no. I don't think they'll win, but they can make a
They'll probably
playoff
make
push.
a playoff
right?
push, yeah.
Canucks, no. Sharks, no. Panthers,
Questionable.
questionable. Might just be Panthers or Kraken.
I have to see Kraken again next year, personally, before I can make a
The thing with
full-on-
Kraken is like they need to add like a big name, right? Like they have
Exactly.
like
They have
they
four
made a
three-year
team. They
lines,
made
yeah.
a team. Like they made a 4-line team. Obviously, it works.
I might even
Yeah,
consider
whipping up.
Ottawa anytime. Not anytime soon, but like they could be the next potential team with how young they are.
Yeah, but if I'm thinking like instant,
Instance Florida.
it's Florida, then probably Kraken for me. And if a Kraken could add like a stud,
Minnesota?
yeah, Minnesota's also in cap hell too.
Yeah.
If the Kraken could add like, say if someone like if they added Kachuk last year, like that they could have had a chance.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, that's okay. We'll move on to the MLB quickly. We're literally hitting every sport right now. The All-Star ballot, the first round ballot has been announced, and I'll just name who are the leading vote getters from each position, except for pitchers. For the AL, Adley Rutschman at catcher,
Yeah,
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladdy at first base,
yeah.
Marcus
a little bit
Semien
surprised, but yeah.
Marcus Semien by
Marcus Semien's
second.
killing it. Yeah. Bo Bichette.
Bo Bichette a short, deserved. Matt Chapman at third.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And then Aaron Judge is the leading outfield vote getter, but I'm assuming that also includes Jordan Alvarez and Mike Trout because the way Score set it up was first, second, third.
Yeah,
I'm
but
guessing
like
those
outfielders, you need 3. That makes sense. Trout
DH
and
is
Alvarez.
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
So essentially second and third for a bunch of players you could think of for catchers, Helm and Salvador Perez. Yandy Diaz for
Yeah,
first
Yandy
base.
Diaz could be like.
Anthony Rizzo. Second base is Jose Altuve, and Merrifield is third.
Yeah, I don't think second base is changing.
Third base Jongan Devers.
Maybe third base could change.
Shortstop Corey Seager, Wander Franco,
I think Bouchard should have lock. For
Mike Trout.
shortstop.
Okay, that one's already there. And then Brandon Bell and Grossman for
And
DH.
obviously,
There ain't jumping.
Ohtani is
So,
Ohtani.
can those guys potentially? Any of these guys potentially make it still?
Yandy Diaz could. Third base could change.
I feel like almost all these guys. I don't think
I don't
Belt
think-
will make it personally. He
He
might have a case, but I don't know how many.
Like for me, Otani's a lock, right?
Ohtani's a lock.
I don't think. I don't.
Judge is a lock. Trout's
Simeon's
a lock.
Simeon's a lock for me. Judge is a lock.
Trout.
Alvarez is a lock.
And Trout.
And Trout. The outfield's a lock.
Bichette's a
Ohtani
lock.
and Semyon and Bichette's a lock.
Yeah.
For me, the corner infielders could change, but Vladdy being that name might still lock it in.
Yeah.
And then Chapman, he did fall off from his incredible start. If he was like able to keep it not even like that high, but like afloat, like
Yeah.
he really like did fall off.
Yeah.
He would have been a lock for me, but since he had that
I don't
big
know how
fall
much the percentage is on vote getters and other
off, yeah.
thing as well.
But what about the NL?
No, before we go to the NL, AL pitchers off the top of your head. Well, obviously, we have two Blue Jays that I think should be locks, and Chris Bassett, and for sure Kevin Gausman.
Yeah,
Jose Barrios could have an argument, but that's about
off the
it.
top. It's hard to go off the top. of my
Garrett
head.
Cole,
Garrett Cole, Shane McClanahan,
Nathan Eovaldi,
Nathan Eovaldi.
Shohei Ohtani, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna.
I
do that.
honestly, after watching him today too, I'm chucking in Jose Barrios. He's been on a
How much of that
killer,
is
bro.
bias and
He-
not paying
as-
attention to the rest of the MLB?
yeah. Of course, I don't watch the rest of the movie, but like no, if you're watching Barrios pitch these last like
Who?
starts he's having, bro, he's been honestly
I don't think he gets it, but he might be like a last minute vote in.
he's been
guy.
more hotter than Gausman and Bassett recently.
Recently, yeah, but I feel like Gausman and Bassett have been hotter earlier. I think it's just like the last.
Yeah, I know, but
starters.
Barrios only like now he only had what bad first two starts, and probably one in between.
Yeah,
But every other one he's been like, it's been quality.
I
And
can't
he's
comment.
back, and he's back to being Jose Barrios.
And
like,
then
how he's been.
who else was on that top 5 Cy Young list? Nathan Eovaldi, I said. Shane McClanahan, Kevin Gausman were the 3.
There's like Sonny
Garrett
Gray.
Cole, Sonny Gray.
Yeah, I think that's it. Really,
Those are the
I don't know.
main. Framber Valdez.
Framber Valdez, yeah.
So yeah, those guys. I'm not gonna comment too much on the bullpen. Obviously, Jordan Romano's our guy, and Swanson. I think those are the two only Jays that we could comment on.
Yeah.
No one else really on the top of my head. But NL, it's Sean Murphy.
Yeah.
Second, Will Smith. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the
catcher.
Dodgers.
And then Edwin Diaz. No, not Edwin Diaz.
Edwin, he's a closer.
It's a Colorado Diaz. It's just
Okay.
Edwin Diaz. Freddie Freeman,
Obviously.
Pete Alonso, and Matt Olson are the top 3 there.
Yeah, I think Freddie's got it.
Luis Reyes should be a
Oh,
lock.
he's a
Second.
lock.
Albius is second, and then Gorman is third. Obviously we don't watch too much NL, so some of these names are kind of going over my head.
There's like Norman Gorman, I think. something like that.
Nolan Arenado, Riley from Atlanta, and Max Muncy.
Austin Riley, yeah.
Yeah, and then Max Muncy.
Yeah.
Arcia from Atlanta. Atlanta's killing it. on this
Yeah,
list.
Atlanta's killing it.
Lindor and Bogarts
Lindor's on it?
second.
Bro, Lindor's.
Keep in mind, it's vote getters.
I know it's vote
and it's
getters,
New
but
York.
I know it's New York, but like if you're looking at it like numbers wise, Lindor is struggling.
Okay, and then Bogarts. I think he's also slightly
I
struggling.
don't think he's not paying up to his level.
Okay, this
as
is a
well.
lock. Acuna, Betts, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., top 3
Bro, he's
outfielder.
killing it.
Yeah,
He's actually killing it.
I'm happy for him there. And then JD Martinez, Bryce Harper. I don't think he gets in, and Dernod. So this list is like
Darno.
Darno. Yeah, okay. Atlanta Braves field.
It's
For
Atlanta Braves field. But yeah.
But yeah, so those are there. I can't comment too much on the pitchers. I know like Zach Gallen,
There's, like,
Spencer
Zach Gallen,
Strider.
Spencer Strider.
These guys are up there for sure. Well, obviously now we're in the off season for the other sports.
There's like
time to watch some baseball now.
Stroman's been pretty good.
Time to
in the
watch some
Cubs.
baseball now, buddy.
There's also this other dude in Cubs that I really like was Justin Steele.
Yeah.
He's put up some good numbers as well, but I don't know too many NL pitchers. But
Yeah.
definitely need to get our baseball up for sure.
Yeah, but obviously now we'll have some time hopefully to get into
All right,
that.
let's get into the
But let's get into
football.
that last thing because I know this is a long-winded podcast
Football.
episode. Let's get into some football. European football transfer window for most of the leagues have started today, June 14th. And before we even get to the transfer rumors, first off, let's get this out of the way. It's more of a quickfire topic. Atiba Hutchinson has announced his retirement after the Nations League is done. So Canada play Panama Thursday, and if they win, they play the final. Or well, win or lose, they're playing Sunday, third place or for the gold.
Final, yeah.
Atiba Hutchinson at 40 something years old is officially retiring. So this is where I kind of contradict myself with the loyalty talk from earlier, because I'm like, we were having all these discussion that with our relatives that he should have not been on the squad for Canada, but I'm like, for a guy like that, and international is a little different story than regular league. You kind of had to, because like you brought him back for that reason, and he worked his ass off to be part of this squad,
And he's also put us on the map,
and he put us on the map, right?
right?
Like
And
he's loved in
he
Besiktas,
didn't have to like. My argument was like, he could be on the squad,
but not
but
like a main
he
starter.
didn't have to be a starter, right?
That
And
sure,
you could
I
tell
agree
like
with
he was.
that.
You could tell
But
he
for
was
me,
off
I was
pace.
like, okay, it was a different story if Canada made the World Cup last year or
Yeah,
last
time.
Last time they never made it in since the 80s, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, no,
But
he deserved to be on it.
On like when you watch the games, you could tell he was a little bit off pace. But
Exactly.
he deserved to be on it. Like he deserved some minutes. But in my opinion, he shouldn't have been a starter.
Yeah, that's fine. But obviously injuries and stuff happen. But congratulations on your retirement. Hopefully we Canada win you the gold, Atiba, and definitely love what you've done bringing Canada soccer on the map, especially with big footy fans over here. So let's move on to the rumors. Well, this is not really a rumor. It's been announced that Kylian Mbappe will not be extending his contract. So he had a player option in NBA terms for the 2025 year. He's not extending that option, but which makes this his last year. And the rumored part is that he wants out no matter what. He's not, but he's come out and said he could still re-sign if he wants, but obviously Real Madrid.
He said that like he's gonna stay this year. But he'll be happy to stay this year.
Yeah, but man, obviously PSG don't want to go through
like
that.
Lose him like for
free.
Nothing, especially he's like 150 mil player.
I don't think it's a coincidence that when Benzema decided to leave,
he's a 150 mil player.
Yeah, so
right? So like obviously you're gonna miss out on that. But I'm not. If I'm PSG, like you found a way to get some freaking what? You have like what's it? What is his name? Like Shake?
No, that's Man City.
That's Man City's. Whatever the other owners is.
Yeah,
you're gonna get money somehow. So it's not. Is it the biggest loss in the world? No, but 150 mil.
Dude, the team hasn't done shit, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, right. It doesn't matter. But no, Mbappe won. First of all, he's like comes out and defends Messi, saying that like he wasn't respected.
Yeah, I love that. I love that for sure.
I love that for him. And honestly, like he cleared things up. Like he said, like I'm not gonna extend, but I could resign. But I'm also gonna be happy playing here next year.
Yeah.
Right?
So we'll move on to obviously.
So like, there's like a lot.
Real Madrid's the biggest link.
Yeah, no. Well, before you start, because there's always all these things like around Mbappe saying that like like he's the locker room guy, like he's being the cancer in the locker room and all that stuff, and then he could be still, but like this thing like giving the respect to Messi and also coming out and being open, right? Give me a little bit of respect because like you could still like see that he wants to win something for PSG, right?
Yeah. So, let's move on quickly to some rumors. Well, some news that came out. Mason Mount bid got rejected. First bid from Man United, 40 million. Again, they were looking for at least 60 million pounds. Obviously, if I'm Man United, I'm not doing that. Obviously, we are Man United fans. The other news is that they're out on Harry Kane, for now, because
Tottenham wants like at least 100 mil.
Not even that. They don't even want to sell him to local, which is kind of stupid because he's on the last year of his contract. And yeah, if I'm United, I don't want to be some Frankie de Jong shit. And especially if he's going to be available next year, you might as well both Mount and Kane. So you might as well just play it out. First, figure out your own ownership situation as well. And then the last rumor, which is like go get Kim and Jay, who's ranked to Bayern Munich now. So those are the three Man United side of things. We don't need to go too much in detail because obviously long-winded podcast today, so we wanted to wrap this up. But speaking of Man United, I'm gonna just read some news because I want to get your reaction on one of them. That's not linked to Man United, but Mason Mount, they'll come back for a second bid and not gonna go after over 60 mil. Fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either.
Currently leading the race for Kim and Jay still. PSG did offer Marco Verratti to City for to lower the fee for Bernardo Silva. However, City rejected that. Don't care about that. Nico Barella.
Yeah, he could be a big name on the move.
Newcastle.
Oh,
This is just Fabrizio Romano. Newcastle are interested in Nicolo Barella from Inter, but nothing is advanced at this stage.
that'll
But
be a
that's
big
the
ad.
team.
That'll be a big ad for Newcastle.
Mbappe is determined to stay at PSG till 2024, which means leave for free. But
So basically, next
yeah,
year.
Antoine Griezmann has a release clause that could be triggered.
Griezmann's old now too.
Yeah, I'm trying to find like the one news I wanted. Here we go. So this is from David Ornstein,
Yeah.
who was this like it's like the Shams Woj situation. So he's like him and Fabrizio Romano. And before I get into that, sorry. Rasmus Højlund is the most realistic target now for
Oh
United
yeah,
as
for
striker
striker.
from
He's
Atalanta.
yeah.
But this David Ornstein report, I want to get the exact one here. First of all, so it's an Arsenal related news.
Arsenal related.
They're,
Arsenal need to
they're
add
obviously
some stuff.
prioritizing Declan Rice, and he's the favorite to go there right now because Declan Rice wants to stay in England rather than go to Bayern. But who knows? Stuff could happen. But it is. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. Okay, so the other name that got linked, Chelsea is losing guys because Mateo Kovacic is linked to also Man City. Kai Havertz is keen on the move to Arsenal. Arsenal have made an offer for Kai Havertz.
Yeah, that's
Out of nowhere. This came out of
out of
nowhere.
nowhere.
Yeah. This is David Ornstein, by the way, not
I
like
mean,
some random.
out of all the transfers that Chelsea did, Kai Havertz probably I think shown the most.
So he says Arsenal have made a proposal to sign Kai Havertz. Pursuit ramped up in the recent days. Contact with Chelsea at 24-year-old, with the 24-year-old. FC Bayern also keen. Real Madrid also talked about it, but Chelsea looking to give like 100 mil or something for him.
No, like
Arsenal planning formal offer to West Ham for Declan Rice soon.
like as I was saying, like out of all the people Chelsea signed, Kai Havertz shown the most promise.
That's
To
why.
me-
I mean, if you're linked to Madrid, there's a reason why.
Right? So I don't think you're getting a bad player at all.
Yeah.
So I'm Arsenal. Like it's obviously it'll be a good signing for like depth wise. It's definitely better than Jorginho signing.
Yeah.
So like he'll provide a good attacking depth, which Arsenal really do need, right?
Yeah.
Because after what Jesus, they had Nketiah, which was okay, but like Nketiah didn't do much after that United game. Obviously Jesus injuries, and then they added Trossard, which was a good signing for him. But realistically, as if you have a front three, like you would want to have good three backup players.
Yeah.
And then obviously Havertz playing a cam as well, a backup for Odegaard. And who knows, depending on what they do, they might even start them together.
Exactly. So yeah. Obviously, I think right now their priority is Declan Rice, but keep that eye out. I guess we should end it here now. It's been
a while.
It's been a while. So obviously, we want to thank you guys for staying on tune to watch the whole thing. I don't know how long this pod is gonna be by the time when we're done editing it, but lots of news that came out today. So we appreciate you guys for watching. If you got to this point, thank you again for 100 subscribers. The road to 200 begins right now. So if you haven't, please subscribe. Also help us reach 100 followers on our TikTok and our Instagram. We post daily there as well. Download this podcast, and if you love it, give it a 5-star rating. Other than that,
That's pretty much it.
and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.